the British monarchy has survived centuries of upheaval, adapting to the shifts of time while maintaining a carefully crafted image of stability, dignity, and absolute reserve. For generations, the unwritten code of the palace has relied on discretion, handling personal friction behind heavy oak doors and maintaining an unbreakable front to the public eye. Yet, the modern era has brought unprecedented challenges to this ancient institution, testing the boundaries of royal diplomacy and putting personal relationships under the intense glare of global media speculation. Every movement within the royal household is parsed for hidden meaning, and every official announcement carries a deeper narrative about duty, family loyalty, and the complex balance between public service and private emotion. In recent years, the fractures within the House of Windsor have become a focal point of global fascination, transforming what was once a private family dynamic into a continuous international headline. The public has watched as old traditions collided with modern sensibilities, leading to a profound separation that left a vast geographic and emotional ocean between the heart of the British capital and the sunny coast of Southern California. This ongoing separation has created a narrative filled with unanswered questions, shifting alliances, and an enduring sense of anticipation regarding whether the deep wounds of the past can ever truly heal. Every milestone, every anniversary, and every major international event serves as a potential catalyst for change, leaving commentators and observers wondering when and how the first steps toward reconciliation might be taken. The tension between the traditional expectations of the British Crown and the independent paths chosen by certain family members continues to shape the public perception of the monarchy, making every rumored travel plan a matter of intense debate. It is a story where the high stakes of institutional legacy meet the very human, vulnerable realities of aging, illness, and the universal desire for family unity. As seasons change and the royal calendar marches forward with its grand ceremonies and official duties, the subtext of family division remains an ever-present shadow, coloring the way the world views the activities of the palace. If you want to stay informed on every major update regarding this unfolding story and receive deep, detailed analyses of the inner workings of the royal family, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you never miss a report. The intricate machinery of the royal household continues to operate with clockwork precision, even as individual members face deep personal trials that remind the world of their fundamental humanity. King Charles, navigating the immense responsibilities of the sovereign while managing a highly publicized and deeply sensitive health battle, has come to symbolize a poignant intersection of public fortitude and private vulnerability. His approach to leadership in these challenging times has been marked by a steadfast commitment to his official duties, a characteristic that defines the very essence of the British monarchical tradition. Observers have noted that his schedule remains demanding, reflecting a determination to fulfill his role as a unifying figure for the nation and the Commonwealth, regardless of personal physical hardships. This resilience has garnered widespread respect, yet it also highlights the passing of time and the finite nature of a monarch's reign, adding a layer of urgency to unresolved family matters. The reality of a serious medical diagnosis naturally shifts perspectives, prompting both the public and those within the palace walls to consider the long-term legacy of the current era and the importance of familial peace. Against this backdrop of duty and health concerns, the activities of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on the other side of the Atlantic continue to draw immense attention, particularly as they prepare for a highly anticipated journey. Their planned return to the United Kingdom, structured around an international sporting event that celebrates the resilience of wounded veterans, has set the stage for a potential convergence of public obligation and deeply personal reunions. This upcoming visit represents a significant moment, marking a rare occasion where the entire family unit is expected to cross the ocean, bringing young children who have grown up largely isolated from their British heritage back to the soil of their ancestors. The anticipation surrounding this trip is palpable, as it marks the first time in years that such a gathering has been attempted, raising expectations to an unprecedented high. Media outlets and royal experts are closely analyzing the logistics, the timing, and the potential security arrangements, recognizing that this journey is far more than a simple business trip or a casual vacation. It is a complex logistical and emotional undertaking that forces both the palace and the California-based couple to navigate a minefield of public opinion and historical grievances. The core of the intrigue lies in how these two vastly different worlds will interact once they are forced into. Geographical proximity. After a prolonged period of silence and public recrimination, the palace, known for its adherence to strict protocols and controlled narratives, must find a way to manage the media storm that inevitably accompanies the arrival of the Sussexes, while the couple must balance their independent public image with the sensitive realities of a family dealing with illness. The public remains divided, with some viewing the upcoming trip as a crucial opportunity for a quiet, meaningful reconciliation that could bring peace to an aging monarch, while others remain skeptical, viewing it through the lens of past conflicts and public disclosures. The emotional weight of the situation is compounded by the presence of the next generation, whose relationship with their grandfather has been limited to a few brief encounters and digital conversations across thousands of miles. As the dates of the journey approach, the tension between the public spectacle and the private reality of a grandfather wishing to see his grandchildren becomes the driving force of the narrative, ensuring that every detail of the visit will be monitored with intense scrutiny. The upcoming journey of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to the United Kingdom represents a turning point in the modern history of the House of Windsor, a moment where the private grievances of a deeply fractured family collide with the relentless machinery of global public relations. At the center of this impending arrival is the Invictus Games countdown in Birmingham, an international adaptive sporting event founded by Prince Harry that serves as the official anchor for their travels. The event itself, celebrated for its focus on the resilience and recovery of wounded, injured, and sick servicemen and women, provides a highly visible professional platform for the Duke, allowing him to highlight a philanthropic legacy that remains deeply connected to his identity. However, the media coverage surrounding this visit has rapidly shifted away from the competitive arenas and onto the delicate internal dynamics of the royal household. The public announcement that Meghan Markle and their two young children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, will accompany Prince Harry has sent shockwaves through media circles, marking the first time the entire family will step foot on British soil together in 4 long years. This decision introduces a complex layer of tension to an already volatile situation, forcing both the palace administration and the California-based couple to navigate an intricate maze of security protocols, media management, and deeply rooted personal animosities. The logistics of the trip are being handled with an unprecedented level of caution, reflecting the high stakes of the visit and the ongoing legal and personal disputes surrounding the family's physical safety. Prince Harry's prolonged, highly publicized battle with the British government over his right to armed police protection in his homeland has been a significant point of contention for years. The Duke has repeatedly expressed deep anxiety regarding the safety of his wife and children in the United Kingdom, arguing that the loss of his automatic taxpayer-funded royal security detail left them uniquely vulnerable to aggressive paparazzi and security threats. Rumors from within logistical circles suggest that their security arrangements for the upcoming week in Birmingham have been quietly upgraded to an exceptional standard, involving private security firms working in tandem with local authorities to ensure a completely sterile environment around the family. This heightened focus on safety underscores the profound sense of alienation that has come to define the Sussexes' relationship with the traditional institutions of their homeland, turning what should be a straightforward family visit into a highly secured, almost defensive operation. The intense focus on security also serves as a physical barrier, keeping the family isolated from the general public and creating a controlled environment where every single movement can be precisely managed away from the prying eyes of the press. While the public-facing portion of the trip will revolve around the athletic events and official engagements in Birmingham, the true tension of the week lies 40 miles away, where King Charles will be managing his own demanding schedule amidst his ongoing, highly confidential cancer treatments. The 77-year-old monarch has shown remarkable resilience since his diagnosis, maintaining a steady stream of public duties and private audiences that signal to the world that the business of the crown remains unyielding. Yet, the reality of his advanced age and serious health journey adds a profound emotional weight to the prospect of a reunion with his youngest son's family. Palace insiders have consistently revealed that beneath the formal exterior of the sovereign lies a grandfather who is deeply saddened by the profound geographic and emotional distance that separates him from his youngest grandchildren. Prince Archie, now 7 years old, has only spent a fraction of his early life in the presence of the king, while 5-year-old Princess Lilibet has met her grandfather in person only once, during the late Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee celebrations in the summer of 2022. For a monarch who takes immense joy in his close, active relationship with Prince William and Kate Middleton's 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, the absence of the California-based grandchildren remains a lingering source of personal sorrow, making the upcoming visit a deeply significant moment for the family's private legacy. The willingness of King Charles to facilitate a meeting has been described by royal biographers as a testament to his innate sense of diplomacy and his enduring desire for familial peace in his final years. The king has deliberately left the door to reconciliation open, avoiding the temptation to match the public recriminations of the Sussexes with retaliatory measures, choosing instead to maintain a stance of quiet dignity. Friends of the royal family note that Charles is acutely aware of the passage of time and does not wish his remaining years on the throne to be clouded by a permanent, bitter estrangement from his son. Prince Harry himself appeared to recognize this urgency during a poignant television interview in May 2025, where he openly expressed his profound desire for a reconciliation. Acknowledging the fragility of life and expressing frustration that the ongoing gridlock over his security arrangements had blocked meaningful communication with his father. The mutual realization that time is a finite resource has created a narrow window of opportunity for both men to bypass the official channels and seek a quiet, private understanding that could finally de-escalate the years of public hostility. However, the prospect of this reunion is fraught with institutional anxiety, as palace aides and senior royals harbor deep-seated fears that any private meeting will be co-opted by the sophisticated media apparatus that surrounds the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. There is a persistent worry within the walls of Buckingham Palace that the California couple will frame any interaction with the king as a strategic validation of their independent path, using a private family moment to reinforce their global brand. A senior palace source noted that there is an inherent risk that the Sussexes will present the meeting to the international media as proof that the royal family desperately needs their presence and their modern star power to maintain relevance. This concern is rooted in a history of calculated disclosures, where private conversations and text messages have found their way into global news reports and tell-all memoirs shortly after occurring. To mitigate this risk, any potential meeting between King Charles and the Sussex family is expected to be subjected to an absolute media blackout, conducted under conditions of total secrecy with a strict ban on private photographers or unauthorized staff members. The palace is determined to ensure that if a grandfather is to embrace his grandchildren, it will happen entirely behind closed doors, completely removed from commercial and promotional pressures that have defined the Sussexes' post-royal career. Adding to the complexity of the situation is the rigid nature of the king's summer schedule, which is anchored by centuries of unbroken royal tradition. During the very week the Sussexes are slated to be in Birmingham, King Charles is scheduled to undertake his annual pilgrimage to Edinburgh for Holyrood Week, a historic celebration of Scottish culture, community, and royal service. Based at the Palace of Holyrood House, the monarch's official residence in Scotland, the king's itinerary is packed with ancient ceremonies, garden parties, and investitures that require his full, undivided attention. Royal historians emphasize that the king will not alter this long-established schedule for his family, as the demands of the sovereign take absolute precedence over personal domestic matters. This logistical reality means that any window for a meeting will be incredibly narrow, requiring Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to align their movements precisely with the king's brief periods of availability between his official duties. The contrast between the king's traditional state-focused calendar and the Sussex's modern, event-driven itinerary highlights the structural divide that still exists between the two factions, showing that even when they occupy the same island, their worlds remain fundamentally misaligned. Furthermore, the shadow of Prince William looms large over the entire affair, presenting perhaps the most insurmountable barrier to total family unity. The relationship between the two brothers remains completely non-existent, frozen in a state of profound alienation following the explosive revelations detailed in Prince Harry's memoir and various documentary series. While King Charles may adopt a diplomatic paternal approach toward his youngest son, Prince William is understood to have zero interest in engaging with his brother during the upcoming visit. The Prince of Wales has focused his energy entirely on supporting his wife, Kate Middleton, through her own recovery, and protecting his children from the ongoing media circus, viewing the Sussexes' past public commentary as an unforgivable breach of trust. Consequently, the upcoming trip will be a deeply fragmented experience for the visiting family, characterized by an absolute separation from the future king and an incredibly tense, highly managed interaction with the current monarch. As the clock ticks down toward their arrival, the atmosphere in London and Birmingham remains heavy with anticipation, as the world waits to see if this high-stakes family gamble will result in a fragile peace or a further deepening of the royal divide. The historical weight of this upcoming encounter cannot be understood without examining the deep institutional and personal backgrounds of the individuals involved, each representing a different facet of a modern monarchy under pressure. King Charles, now 77, has spent the vast majority of his life preparing for the crown, developing a deeply ingrained sense of duty, tradition, and diplomatic patience that defines his approach to governance and family conflict. His path to the throne was the longest preparation in British history, a journey that taught him the value of endurance, the necessity of public reserve, and the importance of maintaining institutional continuity above all else. Those who have studied his life and leadership style note that he is inherently a traditionalist, yet one who possesses a pragmatic understanding of the need for the monarchy to remain relevant and accessible. His recent cancer diagnosis has added a profoundly poignant dimension to his reign, focusing public attention not just on his state responsibilities, but on his role as the patriarch of a family that has experienced immense public fracture. The vulnerability brought on by serious illness often accelerates the desire for personal closure, creating an environment where an aging sovereign must balance the rigid protocols of the state with the very human emotional need to see his younger son and grandchildren before time runs out. His commitment to leaving the palace doors open, despite years of public disclosures and media broadsides from across the Atlantic, highlights a ruler who understands that history judges a monarch as much by their capacity for quiet grace as by their adherence to formal protocols. Wikipedia, in sharp contrast to the traditional state-centered trajectory of the king, stands the independent and highly scrutinized path carved out by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Prince Harry, carrying the profound weight of childhood trauma and the complex legacy of his late mother, Princess Diana, has lived his entire life in a fishbowl, a reality that ultimately drove his decision to step away from the working core of the royal family. His identity has been shaped by a complicated relationship with the British press, a deep-seated desire to protect his immediate family from what he perceived as a hostile media environment, and an enduring commitment to public service on his own terms. His creation of the Invictus Games in 2014 stands as a crowning achievement, reflecting his personal background as a military veteran who served on the front lines in Afghanistan and his deep empathy for the physical and psychological struggles of wounded service personnel. This international platform has allowed him to maintain a global presence focused on resilience and rehabilitation, a legacy that brings him back to the United Kingdom for the highly anticipated countdown events in Birmingham. However, his return is complicated by his intense, multi-year legal battle with the British Home Office over security arrangements, a conflict that has significantly heightened the stakes of his visit and underscored his deep sense of vulnerability within his own homeland. Inbound Meghan Markle, the 44-year-old Duchess of Sussex, represents perhaps the most polarizing figure in this contemporary royal drama. Her journey from an independent American actress to a member of the British royal family capturing the global imagination. Her relatively brief time within the palace walls was marked by an intense cultural clash, culminating in her public declarations regarding the profound emotional toll, isolation, and systemic challenges she faced while trying to adapt to the rigid, centuries-old expectations of the institution. Her decision to speak out publicly about these experiences created an insurmountable wall of tension between herself and senior members of the royal family, transforming her from an asset to the modern crown into a symbol of absolute separation. Her upcoming return to British soil, accompanied by her children, is being viewed by royal observers as a highly calculated and delicate maneuver, as she must step into an environment where her past commentaries have left deep, unhealed wounds among the very people she is slated to meet. Her presence ensures that the upcoming visit cannot be viewed merely as a routine philanthropic trip. It is a high-stakes encounter where her personal narrative will be tested against the silent, unyielding diplomacy of the British court. The contrast between the two branches of the family is made even more stark when looking at the next generation, whose lives reflect the profound divide that has come to define the House of Windsor. On one side are Prince William and Kate Middleton's children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, who are growing up at the very heart of the royal establishment, deeply integrated into the ceremonial and daily life of the monarchy. Their prominent appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace during the recent trooping, the color ceremony, provide a vivid visual representation of the future of the crown, showcasing a stable traditional lineage that remains firmly rooted in London. On the other side are Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, growing up in the sun-drenched privacy of California, completely removed from the grand traditions, historical palaces, and public expectations that define their British cousins. For King Charles, the opportunity to spend meaningful time with Archie and Lilibet represents a rare chance to bridge this immense geographic emotional gap, allowing him to experience the simple joy of being a grandfather to children who currently know him primarily through digital screens. The emotional significance of this reunion is anchored in past events, particularly the poignant moments of the late Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee in July 22, which marked the last time the Sussex family was united on British soil. During that visit, the late Queen met her great-granddaughter and namesake, Lilibet, for the first and only time at Windsor Castle, an encounter that was defined by the strict boundaries of the palace when the Queen's staff famously refused the Sussexes' request to bring their own private photographer. That refusal stands as a historic reminder of the absolute boundary between private family moments and public commercial branding, a boundary that Buckingham Palace is determined to enforce even more strictly during the upcoming July visit, as the dates for the Invictus countdown in Birmingham approach. The convergence of these complex biographies and historical grievances guarantees that the entire week will be an absolute masterclass in high-stakes diplomacy and media management. The King's unwavering dedication to his annual Holyrood week in Scotland, an unbroken tradition featuring the ancient ceremony of the keys, grand garden parties, and investitures at the Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh, means that any potential meeting must be fitted into a meticulously controlled, exceptionally narrow window of time. This tight schedule serves as an institutional shield, ensuring that the king remains fully engaged in the vital business of the state, while providing a legitimate, dignified framework for a brief, entirely private encounter away from the media spotlight. The absence of Prince William from any planned interactions further emphasizes the fractured nature of this peace process, demonstrating that while the father may be willing to adopt a diplomatic role for the sake of his grandchildren and his own legacy, the brother remains completely unmoved. is trust entirely shattered by the events of the past several years. The upcoming visit will not provide a Hollywood ending or an instant resolution to a multi-year conflict. Instead, it represents a fragile, highly secured experiment in coexistence, where the ancient crown and its independent American branch must find a way to navigate the same territory without triggering a new wave of global controversy. The world will be watching every closed door and analyzing every silent movement, knowing that the outcome of these few days in July will echo through the history of the monarchy for generations to come, defining whether the